All right, welcome back, guys. Episode 17 of OKnowsSports. Got a special guest on today, little hometown hero, Caden Pierce. Caden, how you doing, brother?
Good, Ellen, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, no complaints. For the guys and girls that do not know who Caden is, I'm going to give a brief intro. So he's hailing out of the awesome Glen Ellyn, Illinois. As you guys know, I'm from there as well. And a little bio on Caden. So he plays at Princeton currently. He's a junior. Ivy League Rookie of the Year. Then in his sophomore year, Ivy League Player of the Year. He's had a heck of a career so far at Princeton. He's in his junior year right now. He's balling out, obviously. And he was also a Lou Henson Award finalist. In case you guys don't know what that is the best mid-major player in the entire country. So that's a heck of a prestigious award to be nominated for. And then one fun fact, Caden, I love the numbers here on OKnowsSports. So one fun fact for you that I don't even know if you knew, but you became the only Ivy League player and one of 8 underclassmen in the last 30 years of college basketball to average 16 points per game, 9 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, and 1 steal a game. So it's a little bit of an ESPN cherry pick stat, but hey, you're the only guy out of the Ivy League to do it in the last 30 years. So pretty impressive.
That's awesome. I love that.
Definitely. All right. Well, we'll start little pre-college stuff. So first, as you guys know, I'm from the Glen Ellyn area. Caden is as well. So we'll talk a little bit about growing up in the Glen Ellyn area. Sports when you grew up, was it focused basketball mainly, or what were we playing back in the day?
I played pretty much everything growing up. I have 2 older brothers. They played pretty much everything as well. And so the majority of my childhood was, going around to whatever sports they were playing. And so I learned to just enjoy everything. So I played basketball, baseball, football, soccer a little bit, golf, tennis. But yeah, for the listeners out there who don't know, I don't know if we're going to cover this later, but Owen and I were on the tennis team together in high school. I don't think we ever played together, but we were getting after it at practice for sure. But yeah, basically just growing up, I learned to just love competing. Obviously my older brothers were huge role models for me, and also my parents both played college sports at Northwestern. So basketball and sports in general have been a huge part of my life so far. And I think, I just learned to love to compete, and that's a huge thing in my family is just, love what you do and have fun doing it. And so I eventually specialized in basketball, like midway through my high school career, and went on from there. So, yeah.
Definitely. Okay. And yeah, for those that don't know, the Pierce family is one of the most athletic families I've ever seen. And Caden's older brothers, as he said, role models for him. One plays in the NFL, one played overseas, college hoops in the U.S. and then overseas pro hoops as well. So definitely pretty cool on your end. And yeah, we were teammates back in high school, former teammates back on the podcast together. So
let's go.
That was good. That was good times for sure. When you switched over, you said it was midway through high school, because I know for the listeners, they obviously don't know this, but aren't you like a +1, +2 golfer as well as? Because I know golf had to be in the mix there.
Sure, yeah. So I'll take the +1, +2. I'm like a 2 right now. So not officially above scratch, but yeah, I played golf 4 years in high school. So I guess I didn't technically specialize, but I took basketball way more serious than I did golf. Golf was just one of those things that I love to play, and I played high school golf, so I got to play free golf, which is always huge.
Yep.
And also it helped. I love golf because it takes my mind off of basketball. It allows me to have a little bit of balance. I feel like if I were to specialize on something so much, especially at a young age, that I would start to burn out a little bit. And so golf was one of those things, and tennis in high school a little bit as well, that helped keep my mind fresh on basketball. And so, I've learned to love golf, and it's one of my favorite sports currently. So.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great game. I play it a ton as well. Not quite a 2 handicap, but hey, we can't all be 2 handicaps out there. There's got to be some 6 or 7 handicaps too.
Sure.
But yeah, I definitely think that that's cool that you played all the sports growing up and going through your basketball career. Like obviously in high school, you changed coaches around a little bit, and obviously that prolific senior year that you guys had that'll go down in the history books. We'll talk about that in a second. But when do you think you realize like, hey, I think I'm ready to really look at college hoops and like I think I'm ready for that next step when you were in high school?
Yeah, I think I would probably say right around my sophomore year, I knew. My freshman year, I was pretty small. I mean, for a basketball player, I was probably 5'11" my freshman year of high school. And then my sophomore year, I think I grew to like 6'4". So I think so much of basketball is height, obviously.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I grew to, 6'4", I knew I had the physical attributes. And I knew I was going to, continue to get stronger and more athletic. So right around then, I started to believe in myself a little bit more. And then obviously, junior, senior year, I was taking it way more seriously. I was playing with a different AAU team, a national AAU team, the Illinois Wolves. And those guys over there, I was playing with some of the best players in the state and playing against some of the best players across the country. We actually won the Under Armour national championship for AAU, which was pretty sweet. But I would say the sophomore year was probably a huge turning point for me, just in terms of the belief in myself. But the work junior, senior year and beyond has propelled me to who and where I am today.
Yeah, for sure. And then talking a little bit about high school. So I'm sure a lot of the people listening don't know whether they're college hoops fans or not, but Glenbard West, when Caden was a senior, had multiple Division I athletes, but especially in the basketball world. And they actually won the state championship and went, what was it, 37-1 or 36-1?
37-1. Yep.
Yeah, 37-1 with a state championship and just utter domination. So I just wanted to touch on that briefly, talking about having Braden Huff on your team and Bobby Durkin, who both are hooping as well at the D1 level for sure. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit and see if you still talk to those guys and run through that year a little bit.
Yeah, that was a special year for sure. Bobby, Braden, especially at the Division I level, are having huge success, and I stay in touch with them, here and there a good bit. But also Paxton Warden and Ryan Renfro are currently playing at Lewis University and killing it.
Okay.
Division II. Awesome. And we had a heck of a team, and we had huge success throughout the state of Illinois. We lost to Sierra Canyon, which was Bronny James's team, Amari Bailey at the buzzer. That was a tough game, but it was such a cool experience that we were able to have so much success with that high school team. But what made it even more special was just that I'd grown up with those kids for my whole life, and so being able to play high school hoops with your best buddies growing up is so cool, and obviously to have that success made it even more special. So it was an unbelievable time, and winning the state championship was super cool, the first in school history. And so, awesome time.
Yeah, that was that's a season that'll go down in the history books for Illinois basketball as well, which is cool to kind of staple your name, like not only for Glenbard West, obviously, but also just kind of in the whole basketball world, and which is actually an underrated basketball state in my opinion. I mean, the city of Chicago, obviously, but I feel like the whole state of Illinois is like, it's not talked about enough in the basketball world. And you look at just simply the products of that 1 year in currently in college basketball, it's pretty impressive what came out of Chicago.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. Illinois is highly underrated in terms of hoops. But.
Yeah, it's definitely. Let's bring into college a little bit. Obviously, winning the state championship and being one of the marquee players on a state championship team that really was, I mean, I felt like you guys were kind of national news a little bit, especially after, I mean, when Mari Bailey comes into town, when Bronny James comes into town to play you, like, what did the offers look like? Like, what kind of made you choose Princeton? Obviously, it's one of the best academic schools in the nation, and you pride yourself on that as well. But I'm curious, like, what other schools reached out and kind of talk us through that process a little bit of the recruiting.
Yeah, so the recruiting process was a little weird, especially because, I was getting recruited right around COVID. And so the rules were a little bit different. I had my junior year AAU season was completely wiped out, so I didn't get a chance to play. And so I felt it a little bit, but I'm sure other kids felt it even more, that I was a little under recruited, just because, teams didn't have an opportunity to fully get their eyes on you because it's, limited sample size with one season of AAU. And then there's so many rules about dead periods and stuff like that. But so I was looking at a couple Ivy League schools, Princeton at the top of the list, obviously, and then Penn and Brown a little bit, and a couple schools closer to home. So St. Thomas in Minnesota. So they had recently transferred to Division I.
They're a good program right now too.
Good program, yeah. So also Loyola, Maryland was up there.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately it came down to Princeton, St. Thomas, and Loyola were my top three, and I kind of evaluated it all and felt like I visited those three schools officially, and loved my Princeton visit. And obviously, you touched on it, the school is second to none, and the guys on the team are my best friends currently. So it's a great team culture and something that I'm happy I chose Princeton. And but also Princeton has a huge storied basketball history. They obviously, everybody knows Princeton offense, backdoor cuts, things like that. So it's a cool program to be a part of. And at the end of the day, I feel like I made the right choice. So
yeah, definitely, I couldn't agree more. And it's interesting because I felt like that whole COVID experience was so different for so many people, but a lot of people coming out of college or whether they were juniors or seniors at the time of COVID felt that because of so many of the players with the fifth-year eligibility. Like you look at a guy like Hunter Dickinson, he wouldn't be playing college hoops currently if it wasn't for that. And honestly, I don't know, I didn't look into the Princeton roster a ton. I don't know how many you guys have, but feel like the bulk of college basketball right now is filled with the fifth, even sixth-year transfers from that COVID year, where it kind of screwed over guys like yourself that deserve to get those Power 5 offers, but maybe weren't seen as highly just because of that grad year, and guys were taking their fifth and sixth year due to COVID, which obviously worked out for you in the end, but it is kind of crazy how it changed the landscape.
Absolutely, yeah. And the Ivy League's unique because you actually can't use your grad year at an Ivy League school. So we have guys, my freshman and sophomore years, who transferred out of Princeton because they weren't allowed to come back.
Okay.
Like, Ryan Langborg he was my teammate my freshman year. He transferred to Northwestern.
I remember that.
They had huge success. I think they beat somebody in the first round last year. But
that was with Boo Booey at guard. Boo Booey was tough.
They had a good squad. But yeah, the Ivy League's unique. It's kind of the only conference that is somewhat unaffected by the transfer portal. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty bizarre how college basketball has changed from a decade ago.
Yeah, that's for sure. And even like Malik Mack going to Georgetown, that had to be a pretty, I'm sure in your scouting reports when you were looking at Harvard, you're like, holy crap, Malik Mack's gone now.
Dan Wolf at Yale is now at Michigan.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Wolf too.
There was a couple big names, but for the most part, the Ivy League retained most of their guys, which is something that not every conference can say.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then talk a little bit about your freshman year. Obviously, you had a great year, rookie of the year in the conference, which is super impressive. Had to be feeling great. But what an unbelievable season for Princeton. Talk about national news. Obviously, you guys win your conference tournament, and then you go into the NCAA tournament. Talk to me a little bit about how it felt when you were halfway through the season. Were you like, all right, our team's pretty tough, we got a chance here, or what were you feeling?
Honestly, we were struggling that season. We started the season 0-2. And yeah, I mean, we had an up and down season, but I think so much of college basketball, especially at the mid-major level, is peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
And we peaked. We were playing our best basketball in March, and that's what you need to do as a mid-major to make.
It's the only thing, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we still ended up having a great season record-wise. I think we finished at 23-9, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously the Sweet 16 was an unbelievable experience. Growing up, you watch the Final Four, you watch the national championship, you watch one shining moment, things like that, and just being able to be a part of that. My freshman year, I was pretty spoiled. But yeah, I mean, unreal experience. Got to get back there. Hopefully Sweet 16 and beyond. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we'll definitely be rooting for you here. But yeah, I mean, that was a crazy run, and I guess I want to talk a little bit about like playing Arizona. Like as the 15 seed, you guys went in there and kind of handled them. Like, I mean, you guys, it was pretty unbelievable what you guys did there, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that just because, like, I mean, 15 and 2 seeds. I don't know historically what the exact margin is, but it's not often that a 2 seed upsets a 15 in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean that Arizona game was pretty unique. The first thing when we were watching the selection show, I didn't even pick up on who we were playing. I was so caught up on oh my God, Sweet 16, or we're going to the March Madness, we're going to Sacramento, and then I was like, oh gosh, we got to play Arizona. I think they were they had the best offense in the country. They were scoring the most points that year. They had a loaded roster, obviously, but I think we held them.
Was Benedict Mathurin?
It wasn't. It was they had Ballo. At Indiana. They had a guy who was an All-American. His name was Azulis Tubelis. He was a big lefty dude. He was really good. He was my matchup, as a freshman. I'm like, oh boy. But yeah, I mean, we actually didn't play that great that game. We shot 4 for 25 from 3, which we kind of hung our hat on that season. But we played unbelievable defense, and I think it just goes to show that anybody can beat anybody in college basketball. And there's something special, and there's magic in the air in March Madness, and so that was an unbelievable game. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, and that was such a cool experience. Like, I know everyone in Glen Ellyn was rooting for you when you were there, and it's pretty surreal. Like, I'm sure for you, like as you said, like you grew up whole life watching March Madness every year, and it's like, this is me. I'm the 15 seed this year, and I'm the guy that everyone's like talking about, like stud freshman does this, and it's like it's got to be pretty cool. So that was definitely awesome from my point of view, watching you succeed like that. Then obviously you guys moving in the next round, matched up with Mizzou, take them down. Talk to me how you were feeling like after you beat. Like, you're a 15 seed, you have no business being in the Sweet 16. How are you feeling going into the next game?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we were playing some pretty good basketball. And at that point, we weren't it's crazy to say, but we weren't starstruck anymore. We were like, okay, we've won 2 games. We might as well keep winning. We truly felt like we could do that. And we played great in the next game, and they had a loaded roster as well. And, we were in that game for the majority of the game. So I mean, every team in the country, I think, can beat anybody. So it's crazy.
I agree. It's just a matter of getting hot or getting cold, like you said, at the right time. So I want to know, and I always ask all the guys that I interview, like, what was your welcome to college basketball moment? Did it happen that freshman year, or was it not until sophomore year where it was like think of it like when Mo Bamba was a rookie and he went up for a layup against Embiid and he pinned him on the glass, like that kind of moment?
Yeah, I think, it probably happened in that Sweet 16 game. I was going up against, that Creighton team was pretty loaded. They had Ryan Nembhard, who was at Gonzaga, Taylor Shireman's in the NBA, Trey Alexander's in the NBA. Arthur Kluma, I think, is at Kansas State, and then Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's been there forever.
Yeah, who's like 7'1", yeah.
And there was a couple times I drove to the lane and just, put up an Ivy League layup, and that thing just went just like playing volleyball off the glass. So that game was definitely an eye opener for me, just in terms of the type of dudes that are in college basketball. But all things considered, I think I had a pretty smooth freshman year in terms of didn't get embarrassed too many times, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, I would say smooth is an understatement for sure, but I always like asking that question because it produces some good stories. Like, I mean, I didn't even realize that Creighton team. I mean, Kaluma, he's at Texas, and he's incredible. Yeah. I forgot how good, like 3 NBA guys and then 2 guys who are still dominating, 3 guys who are still dominating college basketball. Man, what a good team. And you guys were definitely in that game for the majority of it. So that all credit to you guys. And that's pretty awesome. And then transitioning into sophomore year. So obviously you're coming back amped up in the off season, I'm sure, after that ridiculous dream of a freshman year. You ball out sophomore year, you win Ivy League Player of the Year. You average 16, 9, and 3. You're just pretty dominant basically in that Ivy League. You're definitely at the top of the table as far as Princeton goes as well. You score 20 in 12 different games, which is a lot in college basketball. So what changed between freshman year? Like, obviously you were one of the better players on the team. You're starting every game when it mattered, but kind of the switch over to like, okay, I'm here and I'm ready to be the kind of the go-to guy almost on the Princeton roster sophomore year.
Yeah. So my freshman year, I was more of a role player, kind of just did what I needed to do to get on the court and help the team win. That was more defense, rebounding, spot up threes. But sophomore year, we graduated a couple seniors. And so there was roles and opportunities for me. And, the one thing that was huge for me was my coach believed in me, and he had a vision for me, and he kept me confident and allowed me to play through mistakes, which is huge. And I was able to get better throughout the course of the season, and he knew that, I was going to make mistakes, but he never penalized me for those. And so I just kind of got comfortable with the role that I was in and found ways to continue to get better throughout the course of the season. And the guys I had around me last year were incredible, allowed me to kind of do what I do best. And so, we had a hell of a season last year. I think we ended up going 24-5. Lost our last 2 games and went 24-5. So we were sniffing an at-large bid, even though we didn't win our Ivy League tournament. But it was an unbelievable personal season for me. But I give credit to obviously the team that I was on, incredible guys and coaches that I have. But I was proud of the way that I stepped into the shoes of the seniors that had left and kind of stepped up my game.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember I was, because I'm such a college hoops fan, I was like scanning the Joe Lunardi, like first 4 out, that kind of thing when it was coming down to the wire last season. And I remember Princeton right on that cusp of like because I went to High Point University and they also had a good season last year. And it was like, those mid-major teams, as you know, it's tough to get an at-large because there's so many, you look at the SEC this year, they're obviously playing ranked teams almost every game. It's tough for the mid-majors to get an at-large, but I'm a mid-major guy. I personally think they deserve a few at-larges here and there, and I think definitely you guys deserve one last year.
Yeah, I agree. Mid-major teams should get a chance, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
All right, so moving out of sophomore year, obviously you guys are in your junior year here, hoping for a big season and continuing what you guys are doing. But talking a little bit about your personal questions and personal life, I always ask this with the different college hoops guys I interview. Who's the best player, whether it's in your 3 years at Princeton or in your prior life playing for Glenbard West, that you've ever played with on a team, and why?
That's been on my team?
Yeah, we'll go
Okay.
Who's been on your team and then who you've played against. We'll do both of those.
I think, man, this is tough. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
No, and
But
I
I'll
know, and
say
some guys give two answers if you want to
I
do
got
that.
I got it. I'll say my freshman year here, I played with Tosan Awoma, who is currently on the Brooklyn Nets. He's killing it. He's probably the best player I've personally played with, been on a team with. And then guys I've played against some pretty good guys. I would say I used to play against used to play against Max Christie all the time. In the Wolves, he was an Illinois Wolves guy, so I'd practice against him. In college, obviously those guys I mentioned on Creighton in Arizona. I'd probably say. I mean, I gotta give the NBA guy a nod, so I'll say Max Christie for that one.
Yeah, he's doing okay on the Lakers. I think that's two pretty good answers. I didn't know who you were going to choose. I mean, there's a lot of options. You've played with some good players and been on some good teams, and that Illinois Wolves team, like you talked about, was pretty nuts. So it's pretty easy to choose from. There's a lot to choose from.
For sure.
What is the toughest spot in your college basketball career that you've played in, like toughest arena?
Ooh, I think probably the toughest environment has been St. Joe's. At St. Joe's.
Okay.
They're a basketball school. They love their basketball. They show out for those games. And that's one of my favorite arenas in the country just because it's a perfect size arena. It's not too big, so it gets so loud. The students are right on top of you. But another really cool place is the Palestra. We play there every year. We're playing there on Friday. That's Penn's home floor. It's one of the
that's a good one.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most famous gyms in the country.
Yep.
But I mean, I've been lucky to play in some pretty cool places. We played in the KFC Yum Center in the Sweet 16, which holds like 25,000 people. The Golden One Center in Sacramento was pretty cool. I would say St. Joe's is probably the toughest to play at.
And you think, like, do you get up for those kind of games? Like, that's like, you don't mind the fans yelling in your ear, heckling you, like you're inbounding the ball and they're right here in your ear yelling at you?
I love that. I get up for those games. Absolutely. I think, I've always wanted to play at Cameron. Where Duke plays, and just all the students are
and they're jumping behind you. You can feel it.
So maybe one day we'll see.
For sure. Those are two good answers, and I love when the students play, because I definitely think they do. Like, anyone that says they don't, I feel like the arena definitely plays a factor in how everyone's feeling that night too. It's like, even for the home team, like obviously the away guys, but I feel like the home teams bounce off that too. Like, you look at Kansas last night, place was jumping.
Yep, for sure.
All right, well, I'm going to jump into the OKnowsSports 120-second rapid recap. So what I'll do is I'll just fire off some questions for you. So an example is, what's your favorite color, blue or red? You'd answer blue or red, and then we'll move on to the next one. If you don't like it, you say skip. Whatever comes to mind, you say. So you let me know when you're ready, and we'll
off the dome.
Rapid fire. Yeah, just right off the dome. All right, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, favorite pizza spot at Princeton?
Conti's Pizza.
Okay, best Gatorade flavor?
Blue.
Nike or Adidas basketball shoes?
Nike.
Okay, what is your vertical jump?
Upper 30s.
Okay.
Upper 30s.
Favorite teammate you've ever played with? I know this is a tough one.
Wow. Oh, I got to skip this one.
Okay, that's fine. What's your NBA player comp?
I'll say Josh Hart.
I like that. First time you dunked a basketball?
In game, my senior year of high school.
Okay, favorite TV show?
Breaking Bad.
Good choice. Best basketball movie ever?
Oh, man. Losers.
Yep. Okay, like that one. Favorite artist?
It's tough. Switches. Morgan Wallen. I'll say Morgan Wallen.
Okay. Pre-game meal or any rituals pre-game?
Not too superstitious. Try to eat healthy.
Okay. How do you like your eggs cooked?
Scrambled.
Okay. Go-to music genre? I'm assuming country based off that answer.
Yeah, recently country.
Okay. Who do you think the best team in the NBA is right now?
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay. Thoughts on the Luka AD trade?
Oh, man. I'm a Luka Doncic guy. He's my favorite player in the NBA.
Okay.
I don't get it. I don't see how Dallas could do that to him. Seemed like it was out of the blue.
Couldn't agree more. Last but not least, if you could play any other sport besides basketball professionally, what would it be?
Golf, 100%. 100%.
Okay, love that one. Transitioning into early life, and actually this could be a college answer too. What is your favorite moment, like the best moment of your basketball career yet, the one that you'll never forget?
I think it's got to be like winning, like the week span, winning the Ivy League tournament, going to March Madness, like seeing your name, your team's name pop up on Selection Sunday, and then like taking a plane across the country to a gym you've never seen before, playing a team you've never played before. It's amazing. And then busting brackets was awesome.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good answer. Yeah. And then on top of that, most memorable shot you've ever hit in a game. And this may take a second to think, so you take a second if you need it.
Yeah. I answered this a couple of days ago. One of my coaches asked me this: "What's my highlight of my college career?" And I think my best shot in college was actually my freshman year in the Ivy League championship to go to March Madness, and I hit probably a 35-footer at the end of the first half, like off the dribble, fading away, like a shot I've never practiced before. And like it just happened to go in, and that was a huge shot, huge momentum boost going into halftime.
And that was a buzzer going into half?
Yes, going into half.
Okay, I'll find that one and I'll loop it in for sure. And then
a shot I've never practiced, never hit before, but just happened to go in that moment.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I had in there, I didn't know if you were going to choose this one, but the other night against Rutgers, I mean, that was unreal.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't the other night. It was about a month ago, but still, that was pretty sweet.
That would probably be, 1A, 1B. I forgot about that.
I had to give you props on that one. In case the listeners didn't watch it, I'll loop it in just so they can see it.
Awesome.
And then last few questions for you, because I appreciate all the time you've taken. Are you a LeBron or are you an MJ guy for your go?
MJ.
Okay, give me a reason why.
I mean, just obviously being from the Chicagoland area, like you hear he's a legend. I think in terms of, I'm starting to appreciate LeBron's greatness more and more every day, the more he plays.
Yeah.
But in terms of greatest of all time, I think Michael Jordan is just the way he dominated 6-0 in the finals. Maybe LeBron's becoming the best basketball player of all time. That might be a different question, but I'm a Jordan guy for sure.
Okay, I think that's a good reason. That was concise and that was a good Princeton reasoning right there. Well done. All right. Well, last question I have for you. Is there anything that you'd like the listeners at OKnowSports to know about you that we haven't already covered on the podcast?
Man.
It's a tough one to end on. I know I asked it just in case. Like, I'll give you a little. Zach Austin said that he plays down at Pitt. Not sure if you watch their games, but Zach Austin said that he's the greatest 2K11 player that has ever graced the earth. So that's just an example of one. It doesn't have to be anything serious, or it could be. It's up to you.
I think I'm taking myself against anybody in the country, college basketball, in a golf match. Like, I'd like to put that out there. I think I can take anybody.
Okay, so anyone in the college basketball world.
Anyone, yeah. I'd like to match play. No strokes. Just go out there,
I
So
like
let's do
I
it.
like that. I think I bet on you too with a little. You got a little state championship experience sneaky as well.
Exactly.
I like that. All right. Well, that's all. I appreciate you coming on, Caden, and best luck the rest of the year, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. This is a lot of
All
fun.
right. Yeah, appreciate you, brother.
See you, dude. Yep.